have a question for all you gun control advocates out there. Um, as I understand your position, you're saying that if there's less guns or no guns out there, then there'll be less guns for a criminal to use for bad things, right? And you're saying, well, we don't need guns ourselves to protect ourselves because if there were no guns, then there'd be nothing that we needed to protect ourselves against. Sure, there'd be baseball bats and knives and stuff like that, but people would be able to either defend themselves on their own, in those cases, using similar weapons, or rely on the police to provide protection. And let's just assume, for the sake of argument, that that's true. I don't think it is, but my question is, if there's no guns for anybody, does that mean that the military doesn't have weapons? And if so, how's the military supposed to protect us from foreign invaders? So the military has guns, but the civilian police don't. If that's true, what's to prevent some sort of military coup from taking over the country? So you're saying, oh, well, the military does have guns, but they just don't have as many, similar to the way the Bobbies used to operate in England. And in which case I say, okay, well, um, assuming that the cops could then protect us from all the, you know, private bad guys, um, who protects us from the cops? And if you're saying, well, other cops protect us from the cops, they have internal affairs, they have, I don't know, they've got varying other law enforcement agencies that protect us from the local cops, you know, FBI or the U.S. Marshals or the, Secret Service or, Internal Affairs, whatever. And I'm saying, okay, well, what if they don't do their job? So I guess to recap, what I'm really saying is, okay, cops are there to protect us from bad guys, but what if they don't do their job? I mean, we might be able to appeal to other cops, or I don't know, hold the cops accountable for not protecting us, but we'd probably be dead because if someone's trying to kill us and we don't have the right to defend ourselves, we don't have the ability to defend ourselves, well, then we're dead. And then I guess our relatives or our friends or somebody could try and hold the cops accountable for not protecting us, but they can't really do anything since they don't really have any power. I mean, cops have all the guns. And if the other cops, what if they fail to protect us from the first cops? Because let's say, I mean, there are some dirty cops. I'm not, you know, a minority of them, obviously, probably a very small minority. But who's to protect us from the dirty cops? You're saying, well, these other cops. Well, what if those cops are dirty? What if they're just incompetent? See, uh, so there's really two, I guess, questions that I'm wondering here. One is from a rights perspective. Why do you think we don't have the right to protect ourselves against both private criminals and public criminals? And second of all, from the utilitarian standpoint, which I guess is your perspective, um, what makes you think that it would work? That the guys who would be in power, the guys who would have the ability to use physical force, if you have your way, what makes you think that those people won't abuse that power and there won't need to be some kind of physical way to protect ourselves from that abuse? So if you can answer me that, I'd greatly appreciate it because it just seems to me like you're saying, oh well, let's have Batman protect everybody and then we'll all be safe. You know, the government they're not Batman. You know, I mean people are human. They are subject to the same sort of temptations. These cops and policemen and anybody who works in government. There's some good ones, there's some bad ones, but the problem is if there's no way um, to provide some kind of check on their behavior, well, then it's more likely to be abused, is it not? I mean, that's just what history tells us. I mean, just that's what logic tells us, right? So tell me how things are supposed to work, how people are supposed to be protected from both public and private bad guys in your gunless world.